welcome back to our final conversation for this morning, and it's all about the launch of Colville Young Jr.'s book of poems. Joining us in studio, we have none other than Mr. Colville Young Jr. Good morning.
Oh, good morning to both of you. Glad to be here.
My point of view. Let's talk about first your inspiration of writing poetry. In a sense, we were just talking about the legacies that your father has put out there, but more or less your inspiration for creating literary pieces.
Well, I've always had thoughts and ideas of my own, but I looked at, for example, Mr. Lawrence Vernon. He published his own ideas and opinions, and I think that was a major incentive for me to do my own.
Why not write a memoir then?
I'm too young for that.
But why poetry? Poetry is difficult.
I didn't find it difficult. So it's just comes. It's something that comes, and you just write down what you think or believe or feel, and that's it.
So essentially, it's an anthology of poems that you have published, correct?
Not really.
Okay.
It's just my own viewpoints. I've given thought to many of my country, my own culture that I've been born into in Belize. My ideas about religion and politics, and I've just decided, you know what, like Mr. Vernon did, I just said, you know what, let me just put it all out and put it out there for everybody to see, so that, you know, that's so.
How do you approach it? From an artistic perspective, or more from like a philosophical or academic point of view? Or maybe a combination of all? A
combination of all three. That's about the best thing, yes. Combination of all three.
And what was that process like for you?
Well, to be honest with you, it all happened to me during the COVID lockdown.
Okay.
Sitting around with nothing to do. You know, and nothing happening, nothing to do, no work, nothing. And so that's when I just decided to just begin to write. And so and this is my second piece that I did. I did a book, Bail, as well. And then now I've done this one. This one is more relevant to Belize.
Let's talk about some of the pieces in my point of view. Does it follow a particular sequence based on your point of view of all of these different topics, or is it just I write them as I feel them, and I will be able to get that in this book?
It's divided into three sections, really. The first section, I say religion and politics, but it is more the politics from the point of view of more world politics perspective. The second one has, I call it my point of view, and it has to do with my own personal feelings and sentiments about family, about different topics like love and so forth, and family.
Would you care to read us a piece? I'm looking at the picture at the front, and it's the St. John's Cathedral.
Yes, that's my church.
All right. Why did you pick that to be your cover?
Well, I wanted that on because I believe deeply in my religion and my faith, and I just believe that that should be the foremost thing there, because in my mind, that is what drives me. Your
statement in the front is a very powerful one. Is this a quotation of yours?
Yes, that's mine. That's my own feeling.
Science without God and religion becomes a meaningless sequence of chemical reactions and coincidental interactions, devoid of a beginning and the relevance of time. Speak to us about what that means.
Yeah, it's just saying that, you know, if you don't have God or religion, you know, some scientists are atheists, not all, but some are.
I was just about to say, forgive me. These are otherwise controversial topics when you look at science, when you look at politics.
Yes.
Either from a global or a granular scale. When you look at science and the study of science, a lot of persons who are involved tend to discount what we would say is the miracle and the work of God, because they can argue, well, look, factually, it can be proven, so on and so forth. When you look at that particular expression that you have written on the cover of the book, you're essentially melding the two things together. What was the reasoning behind that for you in terms of being able to look at these two concepts and bring them together in a profound statement?
It's because I myself did study science.
Okay.
My first degree actually was in natural science. But I do see the two things as being related. Because if you don't have religion, science becomes meaningless. It's just, as I said there, chemical reactions, coincidental interactions, and then what is the purpose of it all?
Yeah.
In fact, some of my my poems that I write kind of hints at that as well. One poem, for argument's sake, is the one that says, let me see, the name of it is Love. And it's
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Okay, let me. It's a bit. It has a lot of science in it. That was okay. I'll still read it. I will still read it. I will read it. Love is what makes us different from inanimate objects. Make us want to do things that are not logically right. Why should I want the best for my child? He is made from the same elements that a hyena is made from. Yet I feel warmth towards the first, but none towards the latter. Why should I care how my environment looks? Just different arrangement of objects and things. Why should I care about the feelings of others? And why should they care about the way that I feel? Those three little words, God is love, profound, confounding reflection of life. For love is the antithesis of logic, and religion is the antithesis of mathematics. Life is so difficult to explain in terms of the way atoms are supposed to behave. It's not just an object going up a hill, contrary to the laws of entropy, but that they search for ways to do so, planning to do something contrary to the laws of physics. And many a time they do succeed in finding a way to accomplish the feat. Not just kinetic, purpose-driven energy, not just latent, planning for an event. Science can explain how it happens, but at a loss for why it occurs. Matter and energy, after all, is supposed to move towards stability. God created all the creatures of the earth, including you, me, and everyone else. There's a reason why living things behave the way that they do. And if you do not believe this, then everything you see, touch, and do is just one big waste of time and energy. God is love.
So you just describe intelligent design, really?
There you go. I mean, if not, what's the purpose of it all?
Yeah.
As I said in other poems within the book, you're going to die anyway. I've had people tell me, look, why should I worry about killing somebody else? Because that person's going to die anyway. They say I'm going to be taking them out of their misery. Because the longer they live, the more misery they incur and all that kind of sort of thing. And they will, so what was all the purpose of living? If you're going to die, what's the purpose of buying a car? What's the purpose of you loving your kids and so? Because it's just atoms and molecules and all of that. And your kid is going to die eventually, and so it's meaningless. So to me, religion, science without religion is meaningless.
Let's venture into a slightly different aspect of this all. You come from a family where your father, Sir Colville Young Sr., has contributed to literature and has contributed to the cultural development of this country. That, in a sense, is the backdrop upon which you perhaps have taken a liking to writing, has taken a liking to philosophy, if you're looking at poetry from that point of view. Describe what that upbringing was like in terms of being around this kind of knowledge and being able to express yourself through this form.
Yeah, it's, I guess, too, in another one of my poems, I do describe that situation where we call it family. And family is so important. Yes, my father did his was more on things like that, culture and philosophy and things like that. But you also have to remember my mother. She was important because she believed in that family union and keeping everybody together and everything flowing and so forth. So that that kind of an environment does produce the best, in my opinion. It is best for the development of children. And I do appreciate that I was able to grow up in that kind of an environment. And in fact, it hurts me when I see many of the kids not growing up in that kind of environment with those kind of incentives, because a true family will look out for their kids and try to provide incentives for them and guidance for them.
Your background of studying science, but you're kind of more of a liberal arts person, teaching literature, English, and music. So how, I know you said that a lot of that is a combination. Mathematics. So all of that is a combination of what goes into your poetry. This is about 43 pages. It looks very, very thin, but it's about 43 pages of poetry. How many poems are in here?
I don't remember. I didn't pay that much attention. I'm sorry.
So let's talk about the different genres then, and how each of your background skills kind of play a role in the development of your poems. What part of your poetry brings out that musical aspect of you?
I would say the best thing from music is that you learn harmony. In fact, for example, music is not an isolated thing. You play in groups. Usually you play in groups. Even when you perform solo, you do need to have an audience. You connect with an audience. So that aspect of it, the music, it focuses your mind on connecting with others. It's like, I call it sharing emotions. So it is within music, or whether it be literature, you're really sharing your own beliefs and emotions. And a good artist is somebody who can really let you see what they're feeling, and you connect with it. Like if any group is playing and you connect with it right away, that's a good artist. So
let's talk about the launch. You've already launched your book.
We are about to on Wednesday. It's not been launched as
So let's talk about the launch. Where is it taking place, and how can we get copies of this?
Okay, at the launch you can purchase copies. Afterwards it will be available. I've not really distributed it out as yet, but the launch will be at the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts in the round upstairs, and it will be at 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Something we can all look forward to.
Yeah.
Those of us who are literature buffs and poetry buffs and people who love the written word.
Don't get it twisted. I feel like when I come across books by Belizean authors, people think that they're limited or there's not enough to go around. But just in my lifetime, I think I have read more Belizean pieces than I have foreign pieces, just because it's available to me here at home. So I'm hoping that I could see this in an Angelus Press or at Dacres or something to that effect at a price that I can afford, you know.
Yes, the price will be at $20 each. So.
Oh, perfect. Well, any final words for our viewers before we wrap up this morning's segment?
Well, apart from saying thank you to Channel 5 for thank you to Channel 5 for having me on, and also I would just like to tell everybody, look, it's an opinion. That's what the book is all about. I am not a scientist by any stretch of the imagination, nor am I a politician, nor am I a priest. So do remember that, or a historian. So do remember that this is not something that is supposed to be factually based. It's just simply
your thoughts,
my ideas and my point of view.
Good. It says it right there on the cover. But Mr. Colville Young Jr., thank you so much for joining us this morning. The book launches October 18th, this Wednesday, at the Bliss Center for Performing Arts at 10 a.m. If you'd like to purchase a copy then, be sure to join Mr. Colville Young and get yourself a copy of My Point of View. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
And with that, we're going to take our final break for the morning. We'll be back to wrap things up.